I first start out the meeting by talking about the help we get as it's just not me. It is a whole team of us who really support the organization as well as our members like you. So I want to make sure to acknowledge everybody and first to share with you that Marwan Cameron, he records this meeting and publishes it on his podcast channel on YouTube every month. So it's always accessible. If you have to go in and out of the meeting, you can always catch the important points on the recording. And we try to send the recording out as a link every month in our newsletter. And our executive committee consists of me, Bridget Glasspool from Kitsap Mental Health Services. She is Emily Larson and from Kitsap Rescue Mission, and Dana Emily from Eagle's Wings. They are our co-secretaries. And then we have support from Lisa Lechuga, our past chair from Kitsap Regional Library, Leif Wegner from Bremerton Housing Authority, Carl Borg from Kitsap County, Eric Harold from the Salvation Army, Kathleen Knutson from the HEN program, and Madison Tuttle from the Kitsap Homes of Compassion. If you all just want to raise your hand, if you're here, say hi, everyone. And again, if you want to, we love to see you on camera if you can, but we know everybody's very busy during this time. So we just appreciate that you are here with us. And it looks like Marwan put the live broadcast link on the chat, but if we're all here, he also is chatting with his viewers. So since we usually do a community builder at the beginning, it's so nice to see you all, and I saw that you all introduced yourselves on the chat. Did anybody attend the ceremony last month and want any to say how it went, or do you want to see more in person? Does anybody want to go unmute and talk about the ceremony a little bit? I thought it was a great session. Anybody want to talk about it?
Yeah, I would just say I appreciated being there and seeing all our friends there in the community, and to throw out again that it's always we're always able to use our space at Salvation Army if we want to do in-person meetings once a quarter, whatever, at all. It's available, and that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. Well, we hope to do more. And again, maybe I'll ask a little later when everybody's here. But we do have some photos that I'll share on here too as well further in the meeting. Just if you're interested in having some photos to download, we do have those as well from the event. And we hope to put some of those on the website. So again, nice to have everyone here. Before we get started with our first presentation, I want to just make sure everybody's aware of our vision at the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition. Every person in our community has a safe, decent, stable, and appropriate home. And our mission is that we provide leadership to end homelessness through planning, coordination among social service providers, advocacy, and education. And our values are that we strive to carry out our mission with respect, commitment, compassion, integrity, and a willingness to change. So let me just introduce our first speaker, and that is Trisha Munson from Common Street Consulting.
Hello. Kitty, will you share my presentation, the PowerPoint?
Do you want me to?
Sure.
Sure. Just a second. I have to get it out. Just give me a second. You're welcome to share too if it's easier, Trisha.
I don't know that I would be able to. I have to update this Zoom thing apparently first.
So. Oh yeah, see, you have the new Zoom too.
I am really good on hands-on stuff, but technical computer stuff's not my jam. So.
Oh no, I got you. Okay, so let me just make sure I'm viewing it. Okay, in just a second. Okay, can you see it?
Perfect.
Okay.
So, hi, I'm Trisha. I'm from Common Street Consulting. We were recently hired by the city or contracted by the city of Bremerton to do community outreach and engagement as long as alongside of property management services. You can go to the next slide.
Mhm.
Before I get too far into this, I have two disclaimers. I have two screens, and so I'm looking at my notes on one. So if I look like I'm not looking at the camera, that's why. And also, I sit on an exercise ball instead of a chair. So if you see me bouncing, it's totally normal for me. um, so, so Common Street was hired, like I said, by the city of Bremerton on a contract that was put out. And what we do is we provide outreach and engagement and property management services for local cities, counties, municipalities that contract with us. I primarily work in the outreach and engagement side of things for people who are living homeless. Our property management services I'll get into in just a minute, but our outreach and engagement is very hands-on. We spend the majority of our time as boots on the ground doing outreach to people who are living unhoused, whether that's in a shelter, a car, a liveaboard, an encampment, the street side, any place that's not meant for human habitation. That is our target population that we want to offer services to. We receive referrals from many sources. The entry point in Bremerton is generally the city of Bremerton, our public works department, and law enforcement. They let us know what properties they would like us to outreach to, what areas they'd like us to outreach to. We do not do private property services, so these are all going to be public properties, right of ways, um, parks, city of Bremerton properties, things like that. So we outreach to vehicles people may be living in, encampments, street side camps, pretty much like I said, anything that's not being met by the HUD definition of meant for human habitation. Our main role is to connect people to community resources that we will work in partnership with, and also to navigate the systems alongside of people so that we can help get the proper resources in place to make that change. So we work as a bridge to community resources that already exist, and then we also do provide resources as well. So the combination of those can be very fruitful and can actually lead to some really good outcomes. I am actually a source certified representative for Social Security. That means that I completed a course with Social Security and an exam of sorts. It's a mock case. So I am able to file as somebody's advocate Social Security claims. I can help people get Social Security turned back on or reviewed. That process is very lengthy right now. From the last meeting that we had with Social Security, it's about 230 days from time of your application submission to the date of approval, and about 24 months to date of first payment. So it is running behind, but with an advocate, things tend to move a little quicker. Also, it eliminates that delay in getting information such as previous medical records, previous employment records, things like that. And so that's something that I am able to do. We are working on having more people on our team source certified. And as that continues, of course, that will be more valuable. We do assistance in obtaining housing. We will coordinate with local resources that offer those services to help however we can. We can offer case management. We also can look beyond those resources and find other solutions to help people obtain housing. One of the things that we do often is help people get documents. We help people get IDs. We help people appeal previous evictions, really just go through the process of knocking down those barriers that are preventing them from being in housing. We also do provide services to connect people to substance use services, mental health services, medical services, and other services as necessary. Sometimes people are looking for help with employment services. Sometimes people have some legal struggles that they're battling, and we can help assist and advocate in those. Sometimes people are needing family reunification services. So we'll work closely with the other agencies as appropriate to help that happen. And then I also am a certified peer counselor. And so we do offer some of those services as a certified peer counselor. You can go to the next slide. Our property management that we do is not managing rental properties. We actually manage properties as cities, counties, our contracted clients ask us to. We have a team of CPTED certified folks, and that means CPTED stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. So that Does include vegetation management, limbing up trees, things like that, that can help with lines of sight and safety. We do site hardening activities to make sites more stable and safe, depending on what the need is. And those directions usually come from our clients, such as Public Works, WSDOT, some of the other city access departments. We do pre-reclamation activities and site reclamation. For those that don't know what that is, one of the examples is with WSDOT, sometimes they have projects going on where they're going to push a road through, and we have to get that property ready for them to be able to start construction. And sometimes that means that there's people living on that property, and so we would go in and offer services and find find some good outcomes for folks if they would like that, and get them into a better situation prior to that construction starting. And so what that looks like for us, we do not do site sweeps. That's not what we do, but we do postings as needed on properties that we are working on for our clients. And it's not a 24-hour notice. If there's a safety concern, sometimes it can be a quick notice. But for the most part, most of the places that we do have to post on, we work with them for quite some time. Minimum I've ever seen since the time I've been here is a month. And that's still sometimes not long enough. And so we do have the ability in some situations to continue that process until we can truly offer services that are viable for people. Like I said, sometimes that's not possible depending on safety or construction timelines, things like that. And then we also do ongoing monitoring and maintenance of properties to be sure that the work that's been done stays done, and that our vegetation management and safety lines of sight and things are clear. So like I said, I do touch on that, but that's not my main role. My main role is the outreach and engagement for Common Street. And so we do have multiple people who work on this team that do the property management. So next slide. Things that we do not do. We do not provide transportation services. Transportation, as I know all of you know, because most of you I've at least talked to or interacted with your agency, I know that everyone knows transportation is a difficult thing in Bremerton. We are not contracted with Kitsap County. We are only contracted in the city of Bremerton. And so some of those other resources have not been available, but we are actively working on that, trying to figure out some solutions for the transportation piece. But we do not provide transportation and we do not transport. And again, we do not own housing and we do not build housing. That's not what we do. Common Street is traditionally a right-of-way company. And what was happening with some of the right-of-way properties is that they would continue to see the same people that were living outside on the right-of-way properties, and they would move to the next site and the next site. And Common Street, as property management, said, hey, we need to do something different. This isn't working to just move people along. So I had worked alongside Common Street for quite some time on some other projects, and they decided to pretty much start a homeless outreach and engagement team to help provide services and get people connected to services. One of the things that's common in every county, every city that we work in is that the need is great, and many service providers are overwhelmed and the system is overwhelmed, but also sometimes, there's been staffing difficulties. There's been difficulties with being able to complete things that are necessary because there's just not enough people to do the work. And sometimes there's more people that need services than what we can all accommodate. So that is how we started doing this. So those are the two things that are the hard, fast, we do not do. Outside of that, we can get pretty creative on how to accomplish some things. So that's the next slide. So as of last Monday, we did add an additional team member to our team, and that's Samantha Bernier. She actually is in Bremerton, and she has been working at different agencies in Bremerton. And from what I've heard nothing negative. She has an excellent reputation, and then the last week and a half that I've spent working alongside her has been amazing. So I'm very excited to welcome her to our team and to continue that partnership. I also do want to say that the people that we have been partnering with in Bremerton, we have developed some excellent relationships. And something I tell people often is that this is never an us thing. This is never a me thing. There's not been a single situation in my entire career of doing this, which is over 14 years, that I've done something independently. I've always had the assistance, the help, the support of someone else, another agency, multiple agencies. I had one really difficult case. It took 16 different agencies in one county to be able to get a positive outcome for these folks. And so our goal is to be one of those community partners and to work alongside everyone. And we all have the same goal. We all want to create a path, walk the path, and get people to a different and better situation. Nobody should be hungry, nobody should be cold, and nobody should be living outside. And so, unless by choice, obviously, I do want to throw that in there. But that is our ultimate goal in doing this. And so the people that we've been partnering with and working with alongside of have been excellent. I know that there has been a couple people that have reached out in the last week or so, and I apologize if we did not connect right away with you. I still have a list of people I am trying to connect with and services I would like to connect with and to partner with. So if you are one of those and you have not reached out, please do so. And if you have reached out, I believe I've gotten back to everyone, and I look forward to talking with everyone. So with that, Katie, I will open it up for questions.
Thank you, Trisha. Does anybody have a question? You're welcome to chat or just raise your hand.
Yes, hi, I have a question. I've recently been getting a lot of calls really on the hotline with Canada with Rebuilding Hope. I'm a community Khhc sexual abuse advocate. I've been getting calls of immediate shelter for the night. Just like I had one from Khhc. I mean, not from Khhc, from King County, but they had fled here to get away. Had a court the next day in Kitsap, but needed a place, in King County, but needed a place to stay just for that night here in Kitsap. Do you have any type of resource to refer about that? You guys help with that? Like emergency night stay?
We don't do emergency. We don't do motel vouchers. We don't do motels because we're contracted by the city. We have specific items that we are able to use funds for and things that we are not. And at this time, motels is not on there. However, with that being said, I never in my career have I ever just told somebody no. I definitely would reach out to the Salvation Army and say, hey, here's our situation.
Yeah,
or St. Vincent de Paul. I also I've worked in multiple counties on the side of the state. And so I sometimes reach out to other counties if it's a domestic violence or, something of that nature where people are really trying to stay safe and get their stuff taken care of. We want to do everything possible to set them up for success. And so I do partner with a lot of different counties and agencies across the state. So
okay.
It would never be a situation that I would just say, no, we can't do a motel. No, we can't do a motel, but let's figure this out. And I would start making the calls to everyone that we connect with and collaborate with.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
In the chat, Marwan asked what the agency website is.
It is commonstreetconsulting.com. Well, actually, hold on. I think it is csrow.com, but let me double check. Sorry, I don't go to our website often. And to be honest with you, if you go to our website, you're not going to see a whole lot at this point about homeless outreach services because we are traditionally a right-of-way company. Most of it is geared to right-of-way unless you click on our profiles. And as you click on our profiles, you'll see all of the homeless outreach and community engagement experience we have. Our website is currently being revamped. And give me just 1 second here and I will tell you what the actual website is. But yeah, I do not do real estate. I do not live in Seattle. I will never live in Seattle. So it's csrow.com. And if you click on my profile, Samantha's, Brendan's, there's a variety of us, Dylan, Jeremy, you will see our the homeless outreach and engagement team. And hopefully sooner rather than later, our website will be updated to reflect more of that. But yeah, I'm not a Seattleite. I don't do real estate. That's not what I do. So thanks, Marwan.
I had a question, and forgive me, what is a right-of-way company?
So right of way are the properties that are, generally speaking, it's public property that is off of a road, or there can be easements. So I am not well versed in right of way because I work mostly in the homeless outreach community. However, how I can explain it is that, for instance, there are spots along I-5, the I-5 corridor in Pierce County, that are considered right of way, and a lot of times people will pop up there in tents or shelters that they built, or encampments, and that property is right of way property. There was a right of way initiative that passed in Washington State last year. Actually, I think it's 2 years ago now, and they had dedicated some money to facilitating programs for people who are staying on right-of-way properties. And so that became a big thing with WASDOT. But a lot of the work that we do on right-of-way is, like, if they're pushing a road through and there's properties that have to be purchased and developed, that is right-of-way work. So.
Thank you. And I know you've worked a lot with Salvation Army so far, and can you talk about kind of what you've done in Kitsap? I mean, or in Bremerton, sorry, in Bremerton so far, and how long you've been working here, and kind of what are some successes that you've seen?
So, one of the things that we do routinely with Salvation Army is communication. Sometimes they'll have folks that show up that are needing some services that we can help with, and vice versa. So sometimes we have people that are needing shelter, and so we connect with them, or meals. We also coordinate and collaborate so that we can work together for someone while not duplicating the work. So let's say that Salvation Army is helping somebody get into housing, but that person needs to get an ID and or medical services or things like that. Those are things we can assist with. Salvation Army, like, I feel like they do everything. So, but we've been able to coordinate and collaborate on certain individuals that perhaps have had some difficult times, and sometimes they're not appropriate for shelter, or sometimes they've lost that privilege to, well, I don't, they've lost the ability to go to shelter. I don't think privilege is a good word, but they've lost the ability to stay in the shelter for behaviors, or for the fact that it's not appropriate for them, or the level of care isn't what they need to meet their needs. And so we've been able to coordinate on the things that we can do and the things that they can do together. And what I like to tell people, and I'm sorry for those of you who've heard this a million times already, but if I have some nails and a board and a hammer, I could build something to put over my head. I could build a little structure. But Katie, if you had roofing, and Salvation Army had flooring, and KCR had a level, and KMH had a measuring tape, and Peninsula has, insulation, whatever it is, man, like, think of the things we could do. We could really build a house. And so that's really what it's about, is bringing our strengths to the table to complement everyone else's strengths, but also to complement where there's deficits or weaknesses. And I don't even consider them weaknesses. It's just, some agencies don't do certain things and we don't do certain things. And so it's just filling the gaps where we can for each other, so we can all, get the outcome that we're all working for. There's multiple ways I can come to Bremerton when I do. So there's multiple roads that can lead to success, but when we all pitch in and work together, and, like I said, bring what we've got to the table, we're able to really accomplish a lot. So we've gotten multiple people, actually. We've gotten some people into places like Pendleton House or Pendleton Place. We've gotten people, we got a family housed out of the area. They needed to get out of the area. We were able to get them housed in a different county. It was a mom and a dad and 2 kids, and they were, he's employed now. They've got a place to stay. Things are going good. We've gotten multiple people connected to medical services. We've been working with KCR and Housing Solutions Center to get coordinated entry completed, and then get people into whatever programs they meet criteria for would be appropriate for them. But with that being said, we also don't just coordinate with that agency and then, wash our hands and walk away. The case management piece is a heavy load, and not every agency has case managers, and not everyone has the ability to take on new case management cases. And so that's something that we've been able to do. And so like I said, we just pick up where we can and meet people where they're at, but we also meet other agencies where they're at. So being a SOAR advocate, I think I've completed 11 Social Security applications now in the city of Bremerton. Our contract started kind of as a pilot in December, and I personally started coming out to Bremerton in January. So that's how long we've been there. We've gotten some people into treatment or detox and then treatment, some people into detox. We've been able to coordinate and navigate with the real team on some of those situations. We've gotten some people into congregate care facilities that need perhaps a caregiver. We've been able to connect people to mental health services, some of them being residential mental health service programs, some of them being outpatient. We've been, coordinating with Khhc Mental Health. And then, learning about what's available in Bremerton. It's very different than every city, every county is very unique. And so just learning what those services are and how we can help complement them or help that process.
Thank you, Trisha. It sounds like, the strengths-based approach is very Kitsap County. I think we all try to come together like groups like these and really think about how we can really lean on each other for our competencies, because sometimes if we silo, then we end up doing we need to do all these things, this menu of services, and it's just nice to hear that Common Street also takes that strengths-based approach. So,
absolutely.
Would you recommend, if anybody has any questions, like Kenda was asking earlier, or something like they don't know who to go to, what's the next step, that they reach out to you? Or
absolutely. We're pretty transparent. We're very transparent. So if it's not something we're able to assist with, or it's not something I know the answer to, or someone on my team knows the answer to, we'll tell you. But also, if we can connect you to the right resource, or if we can assist in any way, we absolutely 100% will. So with that being said, we do get referrals also from the Bremerton One app. So that is one place that we do get some referrals from as well. So yes, absolutely reach out. And if there's some services that I think from my travels and adventures through the city of Bremerton, there's some programs and projects that I think everyone would probably be pretty on board about to make happen. And so some of those things, I think it would be exciting collaboratively to make some of those happen. One of the things I mentioned at the last city council study session was a safe parking program again, and what that looks like, and for some of the challenges that come with that, but also how we can work around those challenges. Another thing is that we operate differently than funded or nonprofit programs, because we don't have the same reporting requirements that people do who have funds, especially, funding through Healthcare Authority and things like that. So coordinated entry, for instance, we don't do coordinated entry. I'm big with the coordinated entry system. I'm actually a coordinated entry coach in Pierce County. And so that's a system I believe in. And so I, will advocate for coordinated entry. And so no, I can't do the coordinated entry, but I can help facilitate that and work with KCR, and then also pick up the case management on that side. But I don't get graded on coordinated entry, but I know that there's required numbers. And so if we can partner and people can paint the real picture of what the need is in Bremerton, I think that's always the best approach, is to paint the reality the right way, that, hey, there is actually this many people that are struggling out here, or that are suffering out here. And that's one of the things that coming together as a community, that's one of the things that happens, as it starts to give the realistic picture of things.
Thank you so much, Trisha. And if anybody else has any final questions, if you don't mind putting your kind of contact information in the chat, that would be helpful. And it looks like you're getting some applause from the audience, so that's always nice. And we really appreciate you coming here. And we do have a newsletter that we send to all the members of this group. And right now I think it's at 460. And so there's a lot of information we can use to get out to service providers in Kitsap County. If you have, maybe an idea, or maybe you're trying to get a group together, there's a lot of opportunity to work with the coalition here. And so I look forward to working with you more, Trisha.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us today.
And the next item on the list is Eric from Salvation Army. I think you're going to give us an update.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Going to sound an awful lot like the last update that I gave you, because not a lot has changed over here. We're sheltering, of course. I think probably everybody knows that we're sheltering until the end of April 25. And that's providing that some other sort of permanent shelter is developed and in place by that time. If it's not, then that's probably going to be renegotiated as well. But I know I believe it's our goal to have that in place. And I know several agencies are working towards that permanent housing solution, or the permanent sheltering for Bremerton solution, combination of tiny houses and low barrier walk-in shelter is what it sounds like. It looks like right now. But we will be doing it till the end of April 25 as of this moment. So other services that we have here, commodities. So I think people may know that we bought Monica's social club next door, and we're not using it as a social club anymore. It's actually boarded up and it's going to be torn down. And there's going to be Shelves of Hope food pantry there. So that's coming. I can't really honestly tell you that I have any idea when that's going to be, but I know it's coming because we bought the building and the work is scheduled. It's just funding and getting permits and getting it done. So right now for food, we have commodities Tuesdays and Thursdays between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Our website says 6 p.m. They found that not many people have been coming, so they've been closing early. But commodities are like government food, proteins, milk, eggs, cheese, canned chicken, canned tuna, beans, things like that are commodities items. So usually get 3 or 4 large bags of things, and people can come once a week. So we have that for food. Of course, we have that's to-go food, right? That would all be to-go food. And then we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and 5 p.m. And then, so I'm talking with Captain Dana, and we are going to try and be a priority destination for immediate DV situations. So we had one the other day, 2 nights ago, a lady, 4 kids and 4 dogs, and called from the police, with the police right there outside the house, saying, "What do we do now?" So we couldn't put them here, so we did put them in a motel, and we are going to have a small amount of funding for that type of emergent hotel use. Nothing other than that right now, but we would like, of course, people in the community that are suffering an event like that to be able to call us and be able to get help. So I might even be exploring some grant funding for that, see if we can expand that. But right now, but we'd like to have those calls. So you know of that situation. Obviously, we try and put people in the shelter first, because that's what we do. That's what we are, a shelter. If we can't do that, if it's unsafe for them to be here, or presents too big a problem for us logistically for them to be here, then I'd consider putting them in a hotel and for a couple of days and give them an opportunity to see what they could do for themselves. Social services, same kind of social services, IDs of all kinds, whether that be birth certificate, ID card, driver's license, out of state stuff, we do that. Cremations, sometimes we can do help pay for a cremation once a month. So somebody, Solon McKay, usually the place that people go to, and then we can help with $300 on that. SUD, substance use disorder, behavioral health, through KMHS upstairs, no, through Peninsula Community Health Services upstairs. They provide those things for us. We work with KCR. KCR has an outreach person who comes here once every 2 weeks to do their applications for HSC, and also KMHS has some FACT team people come here. So FACT team work with people in psychosis that may have a drug component, because many of the people that we have here, their situations are complicated with drugs. And then we do have insurance navigator here upstairs with PCHS. We're doing a picnic once a week on, I think it's the last Saturday of the week. So this coming month, it's going to be on, I believe it's on the 25th, that New Day Ministry comes out here. They put up a bunch of clothes, they get a bunch of food, and they have a picnic and a little party, turn the music up, annoy the neighbors, and people come between like 10 and 1, something like that. So it's kind of a nice deal. And that's really about it. Our numbers have been kind of ish around 65 to mid 70s, sometimes depending on the particular day. 80 kind of is our max. We have never turned anyone away this shelter season. Now this season is going through the whole year. I still don't anticipate being at capacity. The weather's going to get better. People choose to do other things. So I think if you have people that are outside, like the lady that was asking earlier, has somebody, needs to go to court here, needs a place to stay one night, yeah, should be able to come here. And that's about it. Really, don't really have anything else with Salvation Army as far as an update. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Eric. While maybe people are thinking about their questions, I was wondering, so all these services that you offer, how do you work with coordinated entry? I know you don't need to go through coordinated entry to go to the Salvation Army, but it sounds like you offer a lot of services outside of the shelter and the food. And was there a certain hours that you could go to the Salvation Army for those services?
Social services are Monday through Friday, 9:15 to 11:30.
Okay.
1:15 to 3:30, generally speaking. But if there's staff here that are knowledgeable about a situation, they're not going to not tell somebody until those hours, right? Or make them wait. I mean, all the staff, they know about coordinated entry through KCR, and we are the only shelter that I know of in Kitsap County that does not work through coordinated entry. We are a low barrier walk-in shelter, so you don't need an appointment, a reservation, anything, you just show up. So yeah, we're unique in that regard.
I've just been thinking of all the things you've been sharing. I'd love to work with you, Eric, to kind of get some more. I know we have our resource pamphlet, but to get some more information about kind of the weekly events that are happening at Salvation Army on our newsletter. So we can definitely put that out. And where else can you find that information? Is it updated on the website for the Bremerton Salvation Army?
We have a website for Salvation Army, even the one for Bremerton. We don't manage it though.
Okay.
Somebody else thinks that they own that rice bowl, and we have to ask for permission to change things on it. So it's not as easy as you see something that you think is wrong, you call me and say, is that wrong? I say, yeah, that's wrong, and I'll change it. No, I can't. I gotta call California.
But if you need a way to get some more information out about the commodities and that
all should be on our website.
Okay.
It sure should be on our
newsletter. Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to Salvation Army and then select Bremerton as the location. Yeah, that's the way I go to see it when I need it.
I might interview you in a sense and email you and ask you for some details that we could throw a highlight on the newsletter. So
yeah, I'm very happy to do that. I really like bragging about what we do, because I feel like Salvation Army's motto is doing the most good. You know, that's granted, nobody's perfect, I had several people today tell me I'm not perfect. One of them was even really angry. And so I get that, you know, nobody's perfect and we all do the best we can. And I like that. I like the motto that we're just doing the most good. Well, because we just try and do the most good, right? Sorry, that's all I can give you. The most I can give you. I hope that's good.
You
So,
definitely are showing that too. We appreciate you, Eric, and the Salvation Army. Anybody else have final questions for Eric? I know Eric's always willing to answer outside of this meeting. If you have any questions, let him know.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. So our next update is from the Kitsap County Housing and Homelessness Division. I don't know if Carl's still here. Carl, I see you.
Yeah, I'm here for another 15 minutes and I got to jump onto a quick meeting for the Pacific building and then I'll be back. But we will be starting our 5-year homeless plan. We just got direction from Commerce, so we'll be reaching out and getting people to help us with that. We will put together a committee. We will need basically people from all walks of life as well as with lived experience. So we'll get that out and get that going fairly quickly. The Pacific building is on schedule to open and have people in it by November 2nd. We'll be doing should be available to do walkthroughs in late October. So we will see about maybe doing this meeting in person at the Pacific building once it's ready to go in October. And that's it for right now, unless people have questions. Or if Corey or Leigh or Virginia want to add.
Did you want to add something about heart coordinator?
We interviewed for heart coordinator. That's all I can tell you.
I would actually like to add to that. Right now, the 5-year state plan and the guidance, the local planning, the 5-year local planning, they're both in a draft status right now, and they have opportunities for public comment before they finalize those. So I think that was included on the most recent newsletter as well, their next opportunity for public input and a listening session. They're going to cover some of that Ruckelshaus report that we've all kind of been introduced to, and the way that they have laid out their 5-year plan draft for the state based on that report. So I would highly encourage people, if you're interested in being involved in that process at all, please do take a look at the draft and consider joining that call and giving input.
I had a quick question. Hi, this is Joey Hayes. So how's the transition to the Pacific building from the Quality Inn going to happen? Like, is the Quality Inn's location shutting down immediately? Is there some transition period? And if it's still at capacity, if there's more people at the Quality Inn than beds at the Pacific building, how that'll be managed?
Right now, the Rescue Mission is putting together their transition plan, going from Quality Inn to the Pacific building. Quality Inn will be open until December 31st of this year. And then that will all transition over to the Pacific building. Probably starting around September, the Rescue Mission will be kind of paring down how many are in their shelter. And then once they move over, then we'll transport everybody over. So they should be moved in, everybody over to the Pacific building by November 15th. But the Rescue Mission is currently putting together that transition plan.
Okay, and there's no, so that's been one of my concerns. There's been no consideration for trying to keep both locations open so that we're gaining beds instead of actually like losing beds.
The main reason Quality Inn was open was because of ARPA funding and the American Rescue Plan. And to be honest, the funding for that is enormous, and keeping both open is, kind of cost prohibitive. We've tried,
Mhm.
we looked at it, but that's the actual reality of it.
Okay. So it's a fun, and I understand that this is outside of your
Yeah.
current capability. So it's really a funding issue that's shutting down that location, pretty much.
Well, that and the fact that the Pacific building, we're putting a brand new building out there for everybody. It's also co-sheltering, so we'll have room for 20 to 24 pets in there. There's a family room. There's a quiet area for people that need to get away or do, and a training room. There's also on-site Peninsula Health Services will be on site. So the services at the Pacific building far outweigh what they can do at Quality Inn.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm not sure if this is a county question or not, because I'm actually not sure how some of this decision was made. So Carl, if this isn't you, just say not involved. But I met with the CARES team, one of the people from the CARES team last week, and they were sharing about how they got some funding in a partnership with St. Michael Medical Center to do some street medicine. And my understanding is that will be primarily / solely in partnership with the heart program. And I was just curious if anyone knew any more about like how that determination was made for that funding to go to CARES, since we don't have a CARES in Bremerton, and or if that street outreach team will only be able to support people in encampments Heart is working with, so county only.
I do not know the answer to that question, Kelsey, but I'll find out because I've never heard that. And I know that we were trying to get St. Michael, we were trying to get St. Michael's to go out last winter when there was some issues within Hospital Hill and some medical issues, and we couldn't do that. So I'll check in with St. Michael's and find out what that is. But thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Based on the quiet meeting today, it might be a short meeting. Not a sad thing. I mean, we get our time back, but our last thing is going to be the agency updates. So if anybody has updates to share, feel free to put it in the chat or raise your hand and I'll call on you. And in the meantime, I will share kind of the photos from the award ceremony. So feel free to share updates. Sometimes we don't have a lot, but any update is a good update.
Before we get into updates, I'm so sorry. I had
That's
to deal with an IT thing, and I actually had a question for Trisha. Trisha, are you still on and available?
Absolutely.
Hey.
Hey.
First, I'll say Trisha has been an absolute gem to work with, not with my health district hat on, but with an outreach hat that I also wear. So I'll just say that Common Street has been a great partner, getting some people linked up to all kinds of different services, including housing. So thanks, Trisha. I know you were mentioning that you guys don't provide transportation, that there's things in the works on that. And so I was just curious if and when you guys might know what that might look like, because I also know we have some officials on here too, so I figured it'd be a
I don't know timeline on that. I can let you know that what I did is I met with a local transportation provider that I'm sure most of you are very familiar with, but I do need to remain confidential about that. But I did meet with a local transportation provider and gathered all the information I needed. And I did present that information to the people in leadership from Common Street that I needed to for them to present to the city. And so I am hoping for some sort of a response on that. So that would be definitely our first go-to as a community partner. We'd like to support the other community partners that are already doing this work and support those endeavors. And also because it seems to have a really good reputation and reliability and things like that. So that is where we're at with that. So as soon as I know more, I can let you know. There's, it's always possible they're going to tell me no, but then we're in no different of a spot than we are right now. So
Great. And then I would just say, I don't know if this is an appropriate venue for something like this. However, I do think that because this Housing and Homelessness Coalition is mandated by some of the funding, if there's a way that we can support that ask, maybe there's people on this call that would be willing to like sign on to a letter or things like that if there's roadblocks, because I know transportation continually is a need. So let us
Thank
know
you.
how we can support.
Absolutely. I did actually bring it up at the last city council study session as well. And I let them know that that's been one of our biggest barriers, actually. So I'm hopeful that we're being heard about it, and I will keep everyone posted. Hopefully it goes my way. I like it when things go my way.
Thank you both. That's a good reminder too, Kelsey, of our role as the local planning group who helps decide how the state money for the continuum of care money is spent. So we do have representatives from this group that go to those steering committees. So we were hoping that we should bring back information specific to that and how we are supporting that as well. So it's a good reminder of our role in the larger community. So if you all could put your updates, I see Jeff has an update, but I'm going to show you these photos real quick and give you a little chance to do something in the chat if you want to share an update. I will share my screen. I always like to share the website, as you all know. Just a reminder that we do have the website, and we are trying to keep it updated with information from our email newsletter, but our email newsletter is still the best way to get information, just the most current. And if you go to kitsapphhc.org, you can scroll down, and these are our most recent meal guides and resources guides. The resource guide still needs to be updated. We're still trying to figure out a process to do that well and really link up with resources that are already gathering this information and how we can do that in an easier way. So we're still trying to figure that out. But I do want to say, when you scroll down to the middle of the page, you're going to get to the mailing list. That's how you sign up for a newsletter, and archived information. So these are the archived newsletters. And because it's the most recent information that we just sent, I'm going to go to the archive, and I am going to click on the last newsletter. And I'll show you here's one of the great photos we have from our ceremony. In this newsletter, you can see that we can go to just enter your email. You don't need to do anything else. And you can see all the great photos that were taken during the ceremony. So a great way to see the great celebration energy that we had. And I'm hoping to use some of these photos on our website and really update it in that way. So just wanted to show you that these are available if you're looking for photos. And we really had a great time at the ceremony. And another great way to push the website and the newsletter. So let me see. I think, Jeff, you had the first update.
Sure. Just real quick. So on May 20th, which is this coming Monday at, I believe, 5 p.m., 5:30, the Bremerton Planning Commission is holding a hearing on updating part of the code. The code is titled Temporary Encampment Permit. But really what's going on is when we authorized the hybrid shelter model for the city going forward, that included both a indoor congregate low barrier space and outside pallet shelters. And so actually the current code basically disallows those pallet shelters. So Bremerton Housing Authority has made the official ask to update the code to be able to allow those pallet shelters. So that's what the Planning Commission is going to be hearing May 20th, and then passing on a recommendation to the City Council. The staff recommended motion is to update the code so we can have pallet shelters, but I wanted to put that on folks' radar in case they're able to either attend the meeting on May 20th and speak up in public comment, or send in any notes in advance. And I'll put the agenda right in the link here. So that's it for me.
Thank you. And Andrea from Kitsap PCAP.
Hi, sorry about that.
Hi.
I just wanted to put out there that we are taking referrals and that we offer very engaged case management services, and we do have vehicles that we can provide transportation for our clients. Not so much as a shuttle service, but to important appointments, and definitely try and get them connected to services like housing and lots of other stuff.
Thank you so much. And our other update is from Khc.
Yeah, so I was just going to share that a small group of us, 4 of us, are working on an operations request for proposals that would go out in conjunction with hopefully securing a site for the Bremerton Hybrid Shelter. So the group, I put it in the chat right now, is Joe Crane. He's representing with, he wears a couple different hats as well, but he's on that related to his connection to, it's an acronym, but connection to the local food banks. Yolanda Fong is co-chairing that with him. She's our administrator here at the health district. And then myself, because of my history working with Kitsap Connect, who was in the Salvation Army shelter, working with people who were high utilizers, and then Catherine Felix of KMHS. We had to be mindful not to include anyone on this task force that may put in a bid for the operation. So it kind of limited who we could have, but we have been having conversations with current shelter operators as well as some other service providers about the needs of what that shelter would be. Obviously, low barrier, 24/7 lock up, but above and beyond that, what we want, at least for the first phase, I think in the utopia, we would have like all kinds of services, but at least at a minimum, what do we need to open the door? What would we be asking of a service provider to do that? So I just wanted you guys to know that that work is happening in tandem with the work that's going on to try to locate and secure a site. And so you may get a request if you haven't already from one of us to bend your ear on that. And it may be something that we want to bring to this whole group for feedback once we get a little bit more of a framework. We've only met once, so.
Thank you, Khc. Does anybody else have any updates? I do want to put out there that we are scheduling presentations out for the following meetings, but if you listen to something and you think it'd be a great presentation for this group, or if you know of somebody that should be presenting at this group, again, bringing those who maybe have already presented, but a lot of people are new here, so it's nice to hear about our services at least annually. So if you want to present or know somebody who should be, please reach out to our admin at kitsaphhc.org email, and we can get you on the schedule. Otherwise, our next meeting is not till next month on the 3rd Wednesday. So I guess I'll call it
Would you be willing to give a brief update on how the BHA MOU rollout has been going?
I don't have any updates on it, but I can get you some updates. Yeah, I don't have an update. I know it's definitely in progress and it's happening, and we're using Rent Cafe as well to finally process applications. So again, before streamlining, it takes a lot of duplication of kind of what we've been doing to get us there. But I know that's the only thing I know. It's like it's been happening, but I don't know any details specific to how we are interacting with service providers. So
great. Well, it's a great thing. So
thank you, Khc. All right, everyone. Well, we appreciate you and thank you so much.
Thank you.